Welcome to Clixed.
Alright everybody, welcome to another episode of Clixed. We're on episode 6, our triumphant return to the air. Joined again by Lotus Guard, my good friend Dave.
Hello.
We are joined by Kentucky State Champion, Mr. Jason Alvey.
What's up?
Congrats on your win. I know I'm like 6 months late, but better.
It's okay. Better late than never.
Better late than never. And our special guest host for today, Howard Brock, leader of the ROC Squad. What's going on, sir?
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing?
Great.
So, we have to give you our classic interview that we give everybody. Let's get going here. So, you traveled all over the country playing HeroClix, probably more than anybody else I personally know. Have you noticed any particular pieces and play styles that are more popular in certain regions?
You do see a change when you go from place to place. I mean, there's definitely a difference in Kansas versus North Carolina, and there's certainly a difference in California. They play a lot different in California than they do. It's almost a style in California, a West Coast style, I guess. Mm-hmm. I specifically remember when Scarlet Witch was being played, and it's almost like you could draw a line across the country because you never saw Scarlet Witches on this side of the country, but they were almost on every team on the West Coast.
Oh, that's cool. So what region of the country would you say, if you want to answer, is your favorite to go and play Clix in?
My favorite place to play Clix? Oh, man. Kentucky. How about that?
Woo!
Yeah, we love it. Alrighty. Alright, so we've had your son Easton on in the past, and he's a really good friend of ours. You guys go to events together all the time, so playing against one another is inevitable. So, has he ever done anything against you in a match that made you consider, grounding him again?
Usually that happens before and after, but not very. The last time we played, he got mad at me. I think he wanted to ground me.
Oh. Okay, so we got our fan interaction questions, and we want to ask you specifically. Easton Brock asks, what is it like to be the dad of a legend?
Tanner's a very good son.
I like it. Alright, so me and Dave were talking about it. We were mostly just curious. Do you and Easton ever feel bad about eliminating me and Dave every fucking time?
That's why we like Kentucky. No, in truth, the hardest thing in HeroClix, whether it's me playing Easton or anything, it's playing friends. You try, you know that you're going at some point. It's a catch-22. It's like when we go to a tournament with Dave, we want him to do well, but we know that if he does well and we do well, we're going to eventually play each other. But we don't really want to play each other. I mean, and if we do play each other, we want to be at the highest, last possible instance that there is. In other words, at least it's a championship game or the top 4 or something like that. And Easton and I have been dealing with that with each other for years. Strange thing that happened this past weekend when we went to North Carolina. 5 of us went from here. 4 of us played each other first round.
Wow.
It used to happen to me and Jason Allen all the time. We call that the ROC tradition. Our first, I think, 8 or 9 ROC events in a row, I played Jason Allen in the first round.
Sometimes
that's a tough draw.
Yeah, it is, especially with him. Oh, man. Alright, so we brought back our classic question that we've had to ask everybody. So, would you rather wrestle an alligator or wear an Auburn jersey for every event, every day, for the rest of your life?
I'd rather be ate by an alligator.
Yeah, no one has accepted losing yet. That's a new one. I like it.
You ever notice no one ever, thinks they got a legit shot against the alligator?
Right.
Like, everyone's like, I'll just let it eat me. And it's like, well, at least try to fight it.
Right.
Hey, I got an alligator story for you.
Okay.
When we went on our vacation last time, we went to New Orleans and we went on a cruise. And when we went to New Orleans, we went out and did the swamp thing. We got the swamp boat tour, and we had this crazy guy that gave us our tour, and we were recommended to him. And this guy, man, he had a pocket full of marshmallows, and he would jump in the water, and he would throw the marshmallows out, and and he would end up nose to nose with alligators, feeding them marshmallows. Craziest thing I ever saw. And this guy was an alligator wrestler, and he was about to leave and go to Australia to compete in the crocodile world championships in Australia wrestling.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy. I wonder if, like, you go in with a different strategy, alligator versus crocodile, you know?
It's not going to be me, because I talk a lot of shit, but my balls aren't that big.
Well, I mean, like, the alligator's got, like, fatter noses and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Crocodile's getting bigger, I know that.
Yeah.
Alright, so Howard, what would you say is your favorite HeroClix piece of all time?
I answered that question recently. My favorite piece of all time would be Rookie Shazam out of Origins. My current favorite piece would be Banshee.
Yeah, he's really good. So, for those of us who haven't been playing for that long, what does Rookie Shazam bring to the table?
Well, he's got, first of all, we're playing back in the days of the phone. We had the phone booth, and for people that don't know what that is, it's it did what Blind Owl does. It made give you a click to enable you where you needed to go. You set on the phone booth, and Shazam had his first click was an activation click. You had to bring him, and then he had super strength, hypersonic speed, forward damage, impervious. And you went through his dial, and you hit a mid dial where he was grounded again. And then the next click, you got all the powers back plus outwit. So he was like just a little over 100 points. I want to say he was 105 points, and he was 7 or 8 clicks deep, and did a lot.
Meta.
Right?
He definitely was.
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah.
Alright, Howard, so everybody knows you as the ROC director. What would you say is the most difficult aspect of being the director of ROC?
Dealing with criticism sometimes, I think. Unfounded criticism. I think that can be tough. When you're, because I would go as far as to say I'm the face of ROC, meaning that I'm the one that's out there the most, and so, usually I'm the one that has to answer and deal with it the most.
Gotta agree with that. Yeah, because I remember when you did that game in Kentucky, and then there was that big blowout about whether ROC board members should even be allowed to play.
Yeah.
Whether it was ethical or not. And, me and Dave just laughed about it, because like, that's ludicrous. Like, what?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like being a ROC board member gives you an advantage when you sit down across the table.
Right.
It doesn't. This is a conversation that's went on along and been discussed. Most of the critics are people that don't play in ROC. When I talk to people, and I actually remember going to play in the World Cup this past year, and I mentioned to somebody because I had some apprehension about playing in the finals, being who I am, and when I mentioned it, and this was a top tier player that actually won Worlds this past year on the team events. And I mentioned that to him, and he had a funny look in his face, and he said, people complain about that? Why? And I guess that's the point, is people that know me and people that know us that actually compete in these events with us, they don't really care.
Yeah.
It's the outside people, I guess, that are looking at it that probably wouldn't play in the game anyway.
Right. It's the people on Realms who like sit there and find something to complain about and everything.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Keyboard players.
If I was a paid employee by HC Realms or by PCG Player, or if ROC was a business that made money, so to speak, they would be justified in saying that, and I wouldn't play. But we're not. We do all this for free. We don't do this to make money or to do anything like that. We do it because we just like to play and compete.
Right, and it gives everybody else a chance to go out and compete and have fun at these tournaments too. But there's always going to be someone who finds something wrong with it because that's just who they are.
ROC is amazing for people like me, because I don't know if we've covered my internal hatred for WizKids or not.
We have, Drew.
Once or twice, probably. Yeah.
But if it wasn't for ROC, I wouldn't even play it.
I don't have internal hate for WizKids. There's lots of things I shake my head at that they do, but there's also a lot of things that I like that they do. And I also realize without them we wouldn't have a game. And overall, I'm pleased with them. There's something, they frustrate me sometimes, I guess is the way to put it. So I don't know. I don't really share that feeling with you, but I understand where it comes from.
I mean,
and they're trying a lot harder.
Mostly from my world experience. My world communication pretty bad.
They're pretty bad.
See, that's the other thing that's interesting. You know, when we talk about rock and why do we play rock? What is it? That some people don't get it. And, you know, I'm going to go back to the criticism. You know, there's a lot of players, and I might be prematurely answering a question. I know that Dave wants to answer me, but when I'm talking about the people that critique rock, they don't understand us. They don't understand. Myself, from the earliest I can remember when I was a kid, the first game I can ever remember playing was Parcheesi with my parents, and I wanted to win. Okay? Mm-hmm. I always want to win. Now, it doesn't mean I'm an asshole trying to win, but I want to win. And since then, I've been competitive in everything that I've ever done, whether it was playing ball, sports, or whether I was playing an online game, or whether I was playing football. And certainly there's things that are more casual than others, but I always try to win, and to me the fun is trying to win. So HeroClix at a competitive level, when we have competitive tournaments, to me that's what's fun. It's competing to try to win. It's not all about winning, don't get me wrong, but that's what I think that myself and I think maybe you guys are the same way. You're competing to win, and it's enjoyable to compete, to play. And I'd also tell you that even though we are that way, and I play at Worlds and been playing at Worlds for years and years and years, there's a much, to me, and I mean, if you look at our World Cup this past year, we had the highest tier players, are as highest tier players as any Worlds event has ever had there, and as many. And I felt like it was much more laid back and fun orientated, even though we were all trying to compete, than I've ever seen at Worlds. Worlds has more of a tense feeling, oh my God, I can't do this or I'm going to get thrown out of the building feeling.
Yeah.
Am I wrong there? Do you guys agree with that?
I totally agree with you, having done both. I mean, the people I played at the World Cup were probably the nicest gentlemen I've ever played in a game of Clixed ever. You know, and Worlds is just, I think Worlds is really tense. You're afraid everything you're going to do is going to get you disqualified or this or that or something ridiculous. It just has that air about it, you know. And the World Cup didn't have that at all, in my opinion.
Well, I think that some of the people that critique ROC, think that that's what it's going to be, that's what we are, because their only experience has been on the world level and with WizKids, and they don't really realize that we don't really follow that. That's not really what our events are like.
I think overall, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say overall, it comes down to, you know, the world competitions are fine if you're that kind of player and everything, but like the ROC is, you know, made by players for players. Mm-hmm. And everything that they kind of invest into is, you know, something that's in the interest of the players, and it's not in the interest of like a company in the end, you know. The end result is it's for people by people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that definitely reflects to the people who do like ROC.
People seem to go out of their way to make up misconceptions about ROC. You just see it on Realms all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, like there's a venue not far from here that will remain nameless that won't run a ROC tournament, they say, because AC Realms sponsors players, so those players are just going to come and take all the prizes if they run a ROC. That's what they do everywhere, which is the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard.
I don't think I've ever played against one of the sponsored players.
Never.
I don't think I've ever seen one in
Speaking of that, I don't even know if that exists anymore.
Yeah, it hasn't.
Say again?
I haven't seen them posting articles or doing anything of that sort, so I was wondering if it was still active or not.
Well, I do know this. I know that the sponsorship was so minimum that I think that when that came out, people got it in their head that HC Realms is going to send these guys all over the country to compete in ROC events, the World Championships, the Nationals, anything and everything that there is, pay for their hotels, pay them money, give them all these freebies and stuff. And it was never anything like that. I mean, I know Tony pretty well, and he's pretty tight in a lot of areas. And, it was never nothing like that. It was simply an exchange. You guys write some articles. You go out there and represent HC Realms when you go to these things, put a pin or something, a logo on or something like that. And, I think maybe he was going to pick up some hotel rooms, and he certainly wasn't flying them all over the country. But again, I don't even think that exists. I think that's just kind of fizzled. I don't know if they just all had a mutual agreement and just let it go, but I haven't heard anything about that. I'm around those guys all the time and talk to them all the time. And I don't hear anything. I haven't asked them, but I just haven't heard any noise about it.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about it since they first announced it, to be honest with you. I might have read an article or two. And I know that one of the sponsor players, Jay Williams, is getting out of the game now.
Yeah.
So can't be making that much money off of it.
No.
All right, Howard. So with the rollout of the ROC Limited Format, what's the motivation that you guys had in allowing the bystander tokens over aspect like relics?
Well, the way Limited came up is we wanted to replace No Tactics, obviously. Mm-hmm. And we felt like No Tactics was flawed. And that was probably the biggest debate that we had this year on discussing any changes was format. And we flipped around. So when we finally narrowed it down, and I came up with a chart, and I think some of you guys saw the chart when I did it. And I said, I think that I got this thing solved. What do you think of this? I'm going to throw it to ROC board. And everybody liked it. And then we just tweaked it a little bit. And part of that tweak would be bystander tokens. We felt like the reason we took things out, to answer that question, you have to realize what the changes were. Constructs. We took out, we felt like it was too much of a, what's the word how do I want to say this?
Wild card?
It wasn't really wild card so much as like when players equipping constructs made them too powerful in this format. And it made it too powerful for No Tactics last year. And it's not that we have a problem with those figures per se, but what ended up happening with No Tactics is that we started seeing the same figures in the same meta over and over and over again. And we wanted to create something where that didn't happen. And we felt like eliminating, constructs from being equipped, that would help do that. Yeah, you can still play those figures, but playing Kyle without a free barrier is a whole lot different than with. So we want to do that, and we also recognize that we liked the idea of theme, and we wanted to bring theme into the game, but also we felt like that would open up more teams and more possibilities, more strategies. We obviously wanted to get rid of resources. We want to go back to basics. Relics, same thing. There's some of the relics are just uber powerful. And we wanted to by bringing bystanders in, there's some figures, that really aren't much playable without it. For instance, Phantom X. I mean, if you don't have a bystander, Phantom X is, really not that great. He's okay. And, they're also as points fillers. I mean, if you're going to take all those things out, it's not so hard in tactics to build a 300 point even team because mostly people use resources, and most of those resources, the add-ons are cheap, or you work it out to where it ends up being 300 points. By adding in bystanders and a good example is I saw a team this past week played, and it was, 2 red tornadoes and a resurrection man. And he played at 285 points. And he didn't have anything on there. I don't know why he did that, because he could have there were bystander tokens he could have played. There were special objects he could have played. I don't know why he didn't do that, but he didn't. But that's why we did it, because you could build that 285 team and you can fill it up with something else.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's 'cause My only thing with the relics is it limits characters like Emerald Empress too. Because I like Emerald Empress, her dial is very good, but her points are built with that relic in mind.
Who?
And Emerald Empress.
Yes.
Her points are built with her relic power in mind, and the no relics kind of kills her. And she's a big piece for me and a couple of my friends. So I mean that was especially my good friend Jason. Had those things there for a little while. But yeah, that's really why I wanted to ask about that, because even in this format, Phantom makes it definitely better, but it still hampers Emerald Empress. So I kind of just want to get your insight on there.
Well, that and the sins would have run rampant if you were allowed to bring relics in.
Also true.
Like, hey, I'll take one, and you can have one. And so.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Definitely no argument there. All right, so when you guys were discussing the limited format amongst the board, were there any rule changes that were suggested or discussed that you guys ultimately decided against?
We discussed a lot of rule changes, and the way that I'm going to skip ahead because this is again a two-part question, kind of. Okay. It's going to answer a question that you got coming up.
Okay.
And that is the way we do things. We don't talk to each other. We do talk a little bit on the phone, and we do meet each other and see each other and stuff like that some. But really, our main place of contact is HC Realms. And we have a hidden forum, that only ROC board members can see. And we discuss things there. Most of the stuff is initiated by me, but not always. So when somebody initiates something, we discuss it. In this particular case, what I do for getting ready for the following year is I make notes all year long of stuff that maybe we should change or discuss, or some of them are repetitive. Format will be discussed again next year. We'll discuss it every year. There may not be any change to it, but we'll discuss it. So I make all these notes, and then as we draw near the end of the year, I then go all at one time and I start making posts, and we go one by one and we discuss them. And then when I feel like we've reached a point of discussion, I'll put it up to a vote. Okay, guys, we discussed this enough. How do you guys like the format as is? Here's the format. We're all voting. And the way we have the board set up is we have an even number of voters. And Tony Typhon does not vote. But if we tie, he breaks the vote. And it's a majority. Whatever the majority rules, we follow that. So when we were discussing we discussed a lot of things, and I think probably the two biggest things that were back and forth one would have been what figures to allow into ROC format, because we had one board member that was pitching Golden Age a lot, and some that was pitching some other things. And so it was hard. The chart kind of brought us all together, if that makes any sense. And the other thing that we had a little bit of discussion on, and that's active and passive judging. So really nothing else. I mean, we discussed things, but really those were probably the two biggest heated things that we had in the forums.
Okay. All right. Well, you answered a lot of questions there. So I watched a couple matches as I could on Twitch and various other streaming sites as the bigger tournaments were rolled out over the summer. And I've noticed that stalling matches tends to happen in those really competitive environments, and it's very controversial, and people talk about it all the time, and it's pretty widely hated across the board. So, what do you personally consider stalling, and is that something that the ROC board would ever consider making a ruling on?
Well, first of all, you're talking to one of the people that hates stalling with passion.
Oh, yeah, we're having that conversation together, right?
Yeah. So anyone that knows me knows how I feel about that, and oh man, I used to play HCO a lot, and I loved HCO. Mm-hmm. And HCO had a timer clock. It had, when the game first started, it just had an overall clock, and then they had allotted times where each player had so much time, and if you did an action, your time, you only got 5 minutes. something like that. I don't remember I think it was 3 minutes. You got 3 minutes for your turn.
When I was playing, it was 2.
Okay, it might have been 2. So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I thought it was brilliant.
And then if you didn't do anything, the time, it would pass on to another player. But you also had what they call bank time. And you could go into your bank time, but if you ran out of your bank time, you passed your turn. Also, each time you did something, it reset a little bit. So like if I moved my figure across the board, I was doing something, but if I did nothing at all, then the time would just keep ticking. Well, in theory, that sounds really good, but I found that what you ended up having more abuse of stalling than you did any other time, and I got heated in many games because people felt like that the game, because you had a timer, that was their time to use, and they were allowed to use all of that time. So even if they did nothing, or if they just moved one piece, they used the entire amount of time. So it became a situation where if it was you're 3/4 of the way in the game, and the other guy, one guy was winning, he would run and use all of his time milking the clock and running the game clock out. And I hate that's not HeroClix to me.
No.
That's not the way it's supposed to be played. Running is okay. That's not stalling. Running is not stalling. Spending all of your time to do very little or nothing at all is stalling. That's the way I would define it. And it frustrates me totally. Sometimes I myself, I'm not the fastest player in the world. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. I play people and usually I have it in my head what I'm going to do next, but then they do something to make me change the way I do things. My turns are long when I'm planning a strike where I have to do something, a lot of different things. For example, and David can attest to this, if I'm sitting there and maybe you think you're safe and you're not, because I can blow up a wall and maneuver my pieces around and get a shot off. And planning that whole thing out, making sure that you have line of sight to all your spots and you do everything in the order that you're supposed to do it, takes a little bit longer sometimes than just moving your pieces up and picking up an object.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, but am I stalling? No, I'm not stalling. I'm having to think through you can tell when somebody is stalling. There's a difference. I don't think I've ever been accused of stalling. At least nobody has to my face. But I know stallers, and you guys know stallers, and and we all have when we go to tournaments, we can point out somebody.
Yeah.
The answer to that question is, it's for now, the answer is that if you think that your opponent is stalling, that you should contact the judge, and the judge should come over and he should watch the game, which generally ends the stalling, and say something to the opponent. Period. What the judge does to somebody who witnesses stalling is up to him. He could take away their turn. He could actually kick them out of the tournament. There's no rule, nothing defined that says what he can do other than it's his discretion. I like to think that most judges have pretty good discretion there, but that's
take them out and beat them.
Yeah. That's fine. At least they not like it, but, ROC has nothing against it. But, anyway, so that's where it falls. I can tell you that we're moving in a direction that ROC is, and it's going to be a slow process, but we will get a judging program up, and we will train our judges how to handle that situation. I also feel like the game is moving towards active judging. And what does active judging mean? Active judging doesn't mean that you have to sit there and watch every single game and try to control everything that's out there. What it means is that you're an active judge. You're not sitting at a desk, sitting back and waiting to get called for every question that there is. What it means is if you see something, you fix it. If you see somebody doing something wrong, you do something about it. If you see somebody interpreting a rule wrong, you fix the interpretation. If you see something illegal, you fix it. It doesn't mean you have to stare over a particular game and watch the whole time, But active judging, I have a problem. And I'm guilty of doing some stupid things myself. I know that one time at DragonCon I was using an illegal map. Then this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. We were playing at DragonCon a few years ago, and Terry was the judge. And in my mind, for whatever reason, I thought that all maps were legal that were the 2x3, and it didn't occur to me that it was only modern age. So I pulled out one of my favorite maps, the Asgardian map, Rainbow Bridge map. And I pulled it out, and I was playing it. It was illegal. Okay? Terry saw it, and he knew it was illegal, but he said nothing. When the game was over, he came and told both of us that it was illegal. I won the game. I don't think it was necessarily because of the map. I could have pulled something else out. But the point is that I felt like and feel like that if a judge sees that, he should go stop it right then and say, hey, you can't play on this map. And that's active judging.
All right. I would definitely agree with that. I've seen a lot of stuff slip by just because the judge wasn't paying attention, things like that. And I know how frustrating that can be.
Do you think that could lead to a slippery slope, though, with people like complaining about how they think a judge had it out for them, even though it's not the judge's fault that they did something illegal, or for instance, like you said, brought an illegal map. That's not the judge's fault, but like do you think that it's gonna be harder for you guys to field all these complaints from all these people? I
don't think so. I mean, we put a lot of thought into that. We're not out there to catch everything. We're not out there. It's kind of like being an auditor. Any of you guys in quality control or been in quality control?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When you're an auditor, you take a sampling of things. You don't check every single thing. Oftentimes, you get a batch of parts in there, and you pull out 10 of them, and you inspect them to make sure that they're all right. And you send them on. It's because you don't have time to sit there and look at all of them.
Right, and most players should be happy that, that the judge is gonna be going around looking for things like that. Because, I've known a few people who are like, oh man, he shouldn't have been able to do that, and I didn't catch it, something like that.
Right.
Now, with the active judging, that's an extra layer of protection from you kind of getting screwed over by something you didn't realize your opponent couldn't have done.
And it'll still happen.
Oh yeah.
You don't have enough people judging most of the time to catch everything like that. I know a little bit about it. I mean, if you got one judge over 50-something people, just no way that you're going to be able to police everything. People are going to complain regardless.
I agree. Well, I mean, what you do is you answer all the questions and you go to people, but in the process of being out there, if you see something, fix it. I just feel like we've adopted this thing in judging, that we walk around with blinders, except unless we're asked a question. If something's going on, we just ignore it. And that's not really what I want. I mean, let's go to the worst case situation. Let's take a 10-year-old, not the 10-year-old that won the world championship, but let's take a 10.
I think he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. But let's take a 10-year-old that's pretty new to the game, and he's been playing for a few months, and you don't have to be a 10-year-old, man. I see people all the time that they come to a ROC tournament to check it out, and they haven't been playing that long, and it's at their local venue, and they want to play. And those people can be taken advantage of by a seasoned player over rules interpretation, and that's not what I want to see. I don't want if I'm walking by and I've got a guy that's been playing for 10 years, and he's sitting there telling the 10-year-old or the new player across the table that he can't do something that he can, that's not what I want to see. I don't want to walk by and ignore it and then come back into the game and say, look, I'm just going to tell you guys, son, you could have done that, and no, you can't tell him to do that. That's not what I want. Me as a judge, I should stop right there and say, no, that's not right.
Yeah, I agree with you. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd like to be as perfect as possible, but you're still not going to. I mean, it's going to help, but it's still not going to catch everything.
No.
And people are going to be upset about stuff no matter which way you go, probably. In my experience.
Oh yeah. My whole perspective on people saying the judge was out to get me or whatever, like, well, when you signed up, did you not agree that the judge gets to make the decisions?
Right? Pretty much on the rule.
Yeah, it's right there. So, I mean, people are going to complain whether you do or you don't. I feel like you guys definitely take steps in the right direction for everybody's benefit. So tell us a little bit about these updates to the ROC menu that we rolled out this week.
Well, this has been something that I've been working on for a few weeks. The hold up and what's happened is I've been waiting for actually TCG Player to finalize something, and that occurred, and I'll tell you what that was. We've got something that's going to be announced. A lot of what I'm about to say is going to be more clear to you in a few weeks. And there's something that's going to be announced that's going to change things quite a bit for the better. It's also something that I'm equally excited about, but I can't say what that is until it occurs.
Okay. Fair enough.
But it's changed the way that we look at the kits, and the prices for the kits. Also, we have had a price increase from our vendors on certain items. Hats have went up quite a bit, and a few other things have happened. Now, what the other thing that's happened that's real interesting, it's also changed pricing a little bit, actually for the better, is that for those people that don't know this, I know that Jason does. TCG Player has used a company called Pastimes. And subbed all of their shipping and stuff out. Now, the reason they've done that is Pastimes actually makes the maps. Now, they don't design the maps, but they physically make the maps. If you go back further, in the fact that TCG Player started off with Magic, in the Magic kits, their main prize is the playmats. And so Pastimes designs, I mean, they make those maps. So when they were doing the Magic kits back in the day, they said, hey, why don't we just have you guys ship everything from here rather than you shipping it to us and then us shipping it out. And plus TCG Player wasn't as big at that time. So Pastimes has been handling all the shipping for TCG Player. The Magic kits are not as elaborate as the ROC kits. We have a lot more things in the ROC kits. So the way the maps came out to begin with is when I was first sitting down with TCG Player back at Gen Con a few years ago, and we were talking about that. I was asking them to explain the program to me, and they showed me those maps. I said, can you do this with maps? And we looked at it, and that's how we got ROC maps. That's how it all started. Okay. And so when we started doing ROC kits, they just followed the same process. In Pastimes, has handled the shipping for TCG Player. I've had two problems. My two chief complaints since day one with our program has been, shipping, and the shipping and Jason knows this. He'll tell you that he knows. He certainly ran about shipping. And I'm pretty damn sure I've had to handle a few of his problems in the past on shipping. And the other thing would be, redemption. And redemption is not something I'm going to talk about right now, but the shipping part of it, I was frustrated on. Well, what's happened now is TCG Player is going to be starting in December. Will be doing their own shipping. And I've actually got a contact name there, which I've never had with Pastimes, of somebody that I can deal with directly with shipping. And I believe the quality control and the timing of shipping is going to be better. Also, the other thing that's been frustrating is that we wanted to ship other places, and we never could get a shipping price from Pastimes, and they were always real slow about getting back with us. So it's been frustrating overall. So therefore, what's happened is the price of kits have been going up a little bit. Not so much in shipping, but other things. And, they contacted me a couple weeks ago, and they were wanting to, they were saying that the price had went up and we need to cut a few things and blah, blah, blah. And why don't we take ROC hats out of the kits? I said, no, I don't want to do that. I'd rather go up in price, than take the kits, take the ROC hats out. And, we were going to raise the kit price in super qualifiers. Everything else was going to be the same. we're going to raise them to $650. Well, that was all written up in pretty much in concrete. And then I went and I started talking to people about how much they liked the hats or didn't like the hats, and what if we did this and what if we did that, and blah, blah, blah. And when I went to North Carolina, I talked to people there, and I ended up taking a vote at the end of the tournament. And I asked everybody, I said, all right, listen, I'm going to give you some options here. And which one of these options do you want? I said, would you like to keep the hats in there just like they are? Not a hand went up. I said, would you like to have OPLE figures in the kits for the top 8? Half the room went up. I said, option number 3, would you like to have ROC top 8 pins? The other half of the room went up. So I came back and talked to the TCG player, and it was real iffy about getting the OPLE kits. I think I can do it. I think I may not. I really don't know. But anyways, we decided to walk away from that because we didn't feel like that we might not could get them, and it wasn't solid, and so on and so forth. So we're replacing the hats with pins, and we're keeping the price the way that it is. Long story short. And that's what's had me held up on releasing this information, for the last few weeks. So because part of the releasing the menu is what is in the kits and what the price is. So now we've got all that done, and the menu's complete, except there is going to be an add-on that you'll hear about in a few weeks. But the menu's complete. I've got the announcement ready to go. It's not up yet. The only thing that's waiting for is for Tony Typhon to finish putting the links, and because the way you're supposed to do it, you're supposed to go to the ROC page and you're supposed to click the section and it takes you there. He's replacing them all. He said he was going to try to do it today. I haven't followed up with him, but I feel pretty confident that by the end of the weekend that we'll have it up and running.
Yeah, it should be up by the time we put this episode out. So.
Yep. I suggested that I knew that was probably going to happen, and I thought it was a good time to bring it up. Now, would you like to? I can give you an overview of the changes if you want to hear them.
Oh, definitely.
All right. Let me pull my announcement up so I got something to look at myself and I can remember everything. The first thing that I talk about, I make the announcement and I say, okay, that we're expanding into international play, and then I say keep reading and blah blah blah. You'll hear all about it. And then I start this thing off, and this is something that you may be surprised about, but you may not be. I really don't know. A lot of people do not know where the ROC page is. I run into players all the time that have never been on the ROC page and do not know all the information that is there. We have two things. We have a ROC page and an HC Realms, and we have a Facebook page. The Facebook page, for the most part, when we do stuff there, we try to point you back into HC Realms. We don't have a web page because HC Realms is our web page. Mm-hmm. That's part of the sponsorship. It'd be kind of dumb to go and create a web page when the idea is to drive traffic to HC Realms. So anyways, despite all that, people don't know that it's here. And the people that do know it that's here, don't realize that there's a ROC menu. So, and I've explained this before, but I did it again. I'm doing it again. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm wanting people to know that it's there, and that I get asked all year long, by people, I give them the links to this to show them where all the information is. And when people that even know where the ROC page is, still, they don't know the menu's there. And so I'm always directing people. And so I gave explicit instructions on how to get there and what to do when you got there. And so when you go into the ROC page, if you look on the left side of the ROC page, that's where the ROC menu is. It's a little box, says ROC menu, and it's got 10 links. And those links are event levels and details, major events, format and rules, ranking table, host a ROC event, prizing, player rankings, ROC build sheet, ROC World Cup, and ROC event winners. Now, I'll go down and I'll tell you the changes that we did on each one of them. Event levels and details. We really did the two changes there. The first one we've already discussed, and that's we've replaced the pins. We replaced the hats with pins. That's the first big one. The second change is buys. We still have our buys. Like if you win a super qualifier, you've got a semifinal bye into the World Cup. If you win a state, semifinal bye. If you win a regional, you get a final bye. All that's still the same. What we changed though was the smaller events where if you won a qualifier, you could get a first round, you got a first round bye into a super qualifier if you wanted it. If you won a super qualifier, you could go into the finals of instead of going into the World Cup, you can swap, instead go into a regional and take one of those top 16 spots if you so choose. And, we did away with that. We did away with it because the complications of it. It was complicated keeping up with everybody that had it. Collecting the points cards that the players were supposed to turn in. And frankly, it really wasn't used enough to bother with. Did it get used? Yeah, it sure did, but probably less than 10 times for the whole year. It's just really not worth it. So we eliminated that. So the only buys you get now are actually into the World Cup. The other thing that we did is that now if you have a buy into the final day, not in the World Cup, but let's say that Jason wins a regional and
good job, Jason,
qualified for the final day. But there's still a whole year in front of him and he's still playing. So he goes out and he wins a super qualifier. Well, now what he does is he's going to pass that semifinal bye into the super qualifier down to the next available player who doesn't have one. So that's a big change. Where before it just kind of went off. I mean, if you played in every tournament and you won every tournament from now to the ROC Cup, you would eliminate everybody from being able to go. And that's not what we wanted. We want to get people to come, and we want people, and when we give out something, we want people to have what we give out. Make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, for sure.
All right. So that's the changes on events, levels, and details. Major events, that's probably our biggest piece of news that we got coming out. In the announcement, last year this was called Super Qualifiers and Regionals, and you just clicked it and you went and you saw all the Super Qualifiers and everything. And now it's major events. If you click that, you're going to be taken to a page and it's going to show all the major events that are scheduled, all the ones that are to be announced, and all the ones that we're working on for the year. Then that doesn't mean that somebody's not going to chime in 6 months from now and want to run an event. They're more than welcome, and when they do that, we'll add them into the page. But this gives you a rough idea of not even a rough idea, it gives you a real good idea of what's going on, where it's happening, and so forth. We even got origins scheduled in there. We've got our states already scheduled in there. And the big thing that we got is we now have national cups. And that's when I said we're expanding into international play. National cups are cups that they're championships that countries hold that feed into the World Cup. I know right now we've already got a Mexico Cup, a Canada Cup, a Brazil Cup, a Argentina Cup, and an Australia Cup scheduled for next year. We're working with South Africa, trying to work that out, and we haven't even announced the program yet, and we've already got these. I feel like when we announce this, that we're probably going to have other countries that chime in that want to play.
Oh, I'm definitely sure. I know we get listened to in over 20 countries.
Exactly.
So
that's what we're hoping. And what that is and how it works is they buy a kit. It's basically a super qualifier kit, and it's modified. And instead of having the plaque that you guys are used to seeing in there, they have actually a cup trophy. And the winner, instead of getting a semi-final bye into the World Cup, will actually go into the final day. So if you win a nationals, then you can go in there. Two things that we're kicking around. We're actually considering doing a USA Cup.
I think
awesome.
If we do that, it's probably going to go west side, just so you know.
That's a big plane ticket.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it.
You're on the west side.
Well, no, one of our complaints has been that we have everything over here, and we feel like this is a good compromise to give the people on the West Coast, because there's a lot of rock players over there, something over there. And we can travel, if we want to travel over there to it, we can. But it's something that we want to have over there and then have a big event. And, it could be, I don't know who's going to run it yet. The two places that we're talking about, the one who I want to run it is Majestics, because, they have the history of running big events. And that's more than likely where to be, but we're also kicking around putting it in Vegas.
Oh man.
Please, we gotta go, Dave.
Yeah.
Gotta go, Dave.
So anyway, that's what's going on there. The other thing that we're kicking around is that I'm waiting for TCG Player to get back with me. We may be able to, print or stamp the championship maps. There won't be special maps. Be whatever current map that we're sending out at that time in the super qualifier kits. But the whoever wins it, their map would be stamped or printed national champion or national cup champion. It would be like the Mexico Cup champion. That's what it would say on there for Mexico.
That sounds very cool.
So that, like I said, we're expanding. That to me, that's the biggest news that we've got coming out. There's others. Now, if you go into format and rules, this is just, I'm pointing this out just so people know that the rules, all you gotta do is go to the ROC page, to the menu, click that, and our rules are there. Ranking table, it's the same. I changed it just a little bit because I added in nationals, but it's, the ranking table is, it's our formula that we use to determine ranking. Then how to host a ROC event. You click that, and it's got the information there on the kits, a little bit of tips, and it takes you to the TCG Player site to buy kits, and also gives you the application to run a super qualifier. Pricing, you just put in some new pictures. It's pretty much the same. Player rankings, no changes there. That's where you go and you look and see how we rank people. The ROC build sheet, we did modify our build sheet from last year. It's the one that we're using, the one that we used at the World Cup, and Tony's supposed to be making this to where you can. I've given him the sheet, but he's supposed to make it where you can click it and you can actually type in your information right there and print it, and venues can click and make copies of the sheet. That's the idea behind there.
Awesome.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
The ROC World
saves
Cup.
a lot of time.
Yep. The ROC World Cup. It's already, we've already got it scheduled for next year, dates. We're starting earlier on Friday, so it's going to be a bigger event this year. We're going to start Friday morning, so it'll be 3 full days and nights. Still 24/7 gaming. We've got a lot of stuff that's open there, but we've got our tentative schedule up there, and when our events are, we've added in team championships. We've juggled around dinner. We've juggled around when we're running our quarterfinals and our semifinals, and we've got different events in there. And we've tweaked it a little bit, and we've got Dice Addictions is coming back. We've got Cool Minis are not coming back. And we've actually are talking to a few other places to run games there, where we're going to rent out some spaces. They're not going to rent a section, but we're going to give them table space and share and do ticket sharing with them and run events. That's how we're going to do that next year. So that's probably that's a page that people just can keep checking back. But I also took I don't know if you guys looked at it last year, but it was just one big long post, and I separated it this year, where you've got pages where you can go to what you want to know, and you go to that page, and it's got, these are the directions, and this is the information on how to get around. This over here is the hotel information, who you call. Right over here is all of Dice Addictions events. And so we've moved that around a little bit to where it's easier for the eye, I guess is the way to put it. And then the last is the ROC event winners. And there is where you click and you see all the major events, all the winners from states, provinces, super qualifiers, regionals, anybody that's got a bye. It tells you how everything works together. It says, and then 2 super qualifiers get to go to the finals. Super qualifier plus state goes to the finals. Super qualifier, all that stuff. All the formulas are there where people can look and see where they're at, what they got to do to get to the next step.
All right, very cool, very cool. So are there any other big announcements you wanted to make, or does that cover just about everything for you?
I think that covers everything. Like I said, there is something coming up. There will be an 11th thing added to the menu. It's big news.
All right, cool.
They're giving me a lifetime achievement award.
Yeah. You have officially used the question more than every other human who's ever played Clixed.
I have.
Combined.
It's possible, dude.
It's very realistic.
I think we just got our 10th top 16 finish.
Oh, yeah?
At the last regional, yeah.
That isn't even count local venues.
No, that's just in ROC events.
Yeah.
Everything.
I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
I'm gonna interview you now.
Oh man.
Ooh, reverse interview.
Alligator.
I was actually I received this from Edward Shelton last week. I got an email from him, and he was sending it to me from Alex Avila. You guys know him, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Alex was talking about doing some changes and stuff for next year. And one of the things that he said was, why don't we make, take the prizing more or less out of ROC events and just go cash?
Oh, I don't know, man. I really like ROC a lot, but I also used to really like Magic until I got competitive and it became a money thing. And I feel like, from my perspective personally, money competition brings out the worst in competitive. So while I would probably still go, it's not something I would be interested in. Like, if I had a vote, I would vote.
Well, see, you look at the Magic formula, and the Magic formula works, but there's 2 things I would say about that. One is that there's more Magic players. 2, Magic is a lot cheaper game, prize-wise and everything else. Like TCG Player and their kits, they give the points cards, and they give out the play mats, which their mats are a lot cheaper than our mats because they're smaller, and they give out money, and the events are set up to where the stores don't make any money off the events. They're looking at a break even point, and where the store makes their money is having the mass of people there and that mass of people buying things from them when they run the events. The problem that I got is if you take that formula, let's just say you took the pricing completely out and you just charged admission, and is how much would the store want to give away? Let's just say that if you just took the price of the kit, it's $600. $600 isn't a whole lot to spread around in a super qualifier, is it?
Cash wise, no, not really.
Oh, not really.
Yeah, that's
and
what
I mean,
do.
It's like in a Clixed-based tournament, you know how you were saying, like, a lot of the venues, like, they would do these money tournaments because they know they're going to make their money off people coming in and buying stuff for their deck, or like, hey, I just won some money, so I'm going to spend it on this to make my deck better, things like that. I mean, there's not really many stores that I've ever been to that have just got thousands of HeroClix sitting around for players to sit there and scoop up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't.
No. I don't think it's a great idea, personally.
I don't think anybody'd run it.
I think it's going to draw more criticism to the ROC than you're getting, just by having them all be money tournament. People already complain about it, giving away cash and this and that, everything at the World Cup, and Magic for all that money.
Yeah.
I agree with those things. I just want to see what you guys thought.
I think it would do more harm than good, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I'd rather just see con-inclusive and maps and I love those maps, man. I hate to see those go away for money.
Yeah.
Right?
Those are the greatest thing about it for me, personally.
Says the state champion.
Yeah. But kind of, man.
Alright, so Well, we got Howard on the show. I want to go ahead and discuss all of our opinions about the limited format, because just what I was reading today on the realms, there are at least a few people that are really not happy about it. So Dave, what do you think about the limited format overall?
I liked the no tactics format whenever it came out. So right now I'm a bigger fan of the limited format than I was of that. I mean, I kind of like it whenever you just bring your team and I bring my team, and we get rid of all our fancy lanterns and we just see who can beat each other's face in the best. You know what I mean? It's I don't know, it takes out all the stops and it just puts piece against piece with with a lot less little additions. And you're gonna see a different meta. It gives the smaller pieces their chance to shine. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna see some 30-point piece that you never saw in tactics, and it's just gonna sit there and make the entire meta completely different. So I'm a big fan of it.
What do you think, Jason?
I like it. Me as a judge, personally, it's less stuff I have to worry about ruling on. So that's always great. I guess it's something new to think about. It changes up what you're looking at playing, what you're thinking about playing. You see different stuff. I'm all for that. Changing it up every few months is fine by me.
Yeah, I get that. Definitely.
What about the alternate formats? I mean, I don't know how many venues plan on running them, but what do you think about those, Drew?
I kind of like the alternate formats. Real quick, we'll get back on limited. I was probably the single biggest critic of the no tactics format when it rolled out last season. And while there are things in limited I'm not hugely popular with, it is tremendously better than last year in every sense of the word. Speaking from that, the alternate formats, I would like to see a couple venues do those, because you don't get to see 400 happen that often, and it seems to be a pretty popular alternate format on the alternate list. I don't think we're going to see a lot, which is a big letdown for me, because I would love to see how all these 300 modern for every single game they ever play players would handle a 400-point game. I feel some people just wouldn't be able to handle it, and it would be fun to watch them react.
And then some would be even more monstrous.
Oh, some people would turn into demons. Don't get me wrong.
You know what the worst thing about a 400-point or any change to a point format is, for me, is that I'm brainwashed into I got 3 moves. And so I think in the game that way too often. When you have 400 points, I often forget that you can still do something.
Oh yeah. You play 300.
Oh, I did that whenever me and Jason were going to almost every ROC within 5 hours a couple years ago, and it was to the point where we would come home on Thursdays to our local events. It was playing a 500-point game, and I'd sit there and do 3 actions every turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened.
What are you doing? You still got 2 more moves to do. And I'm like, oh crap. My bad.
Oh, yeah.
2 whole turns.
One of the easiest things to forget is team prob when you play 400 points.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. I don't think personally I'll probably ever run the alternate formats. Just like Golden Age especially, I'll never ever rock Golden Age.
I don't think most people. I don't think we'll ever see Golden Age tournament, to be honest with you.
No. It's just 2 combinations that would
maybe 1 or 2 of the ROC Age tournaments, but I don't think it's going to be a big thing. Although what I do love, going back to limited real fast, I do love the re-inclusion of team teams. I miss those a lot during no tactics because I like to play team teams.
I like that inclusion also, and that's going to bring me back to the question I asked earlier, because it happened this past weekend. The top 4, I don't know I can't speak necessarily for the top 8, but none of the top 4 teams were team. And I don't think any of the top 8, if any, were team. There might have been something in their team. Point is that going in there, a lot of people were predicting that teams were going to dominate, and there's lots of benefits, of course, for them. The biggest thing for me on a team isn't really probability control as much as it is map choice. If you can build a team that gives you an advantage with a certain map, and that's a big thing to me. Mm-hmm. Well, the problem is, in my opinion, I'm open to building team teams, and I try to build team teams sometimes, but I think that team teams can often hinder you more than it help you because you are trying to build a team with keywords that maybe is not necessarily the best team.
Oh yeah, definitely. Theme teams definitely limit your available choices. It's much harder to take advantage of, a Despotella's defense share if they don't match the keywords. There's certain advantages to both. The only reason I really play theme teams is because deep down, under this competitive shell that I built by playing rocks, there's still a casual player who likes playing his favorite pieces. So that's the theme team appeal for me.
So when you say that, when you're going strictly into the comic books and you're like wanting to play a Spider-Man team, right?
Yeah.
So you're not, because theme could be kind of squirrely in the fact that, yeah, you can build that Spider-Man team, but you also can take a word like, you can take words and go from DC to Marvel and all different kinds of other places that really don't make Mystical, for example. It's not theme, they just share a word.
Yeah.
So when you say theme, you mean comic accurate theme.
It's like more comic accurate. When I build a theme team, it's typically more comic accurate. It's something like X-Force or Spider-Man.
Like a named theme team?
Yeah, I typically do name teams.
I got you.
I very rarely do generic. Although if somebody can show me a reporter team that works, I will give you $5.
Hey man, with the new set coming out, a reporter team can work.
I'll send my PayPal address, Drew. You can send me the money.
Oh man. Okay, so we've all had a while to look at Limited and see what we've got to work with here. So, Dave, what do you think some top pieces we're going to see a lot of in Limited are?
Oh man, you're gonna make me get my list out. Cause, I make lists. Anyway.
Yeah, but you only got, your list is half good, because none of your pieces have range.
Right. I'm gonna list out pieces that other people are going to play.
Yeah, I'm not asking for your secret stash. What are you gonna see a lot?
No. Let's see. My impact pieces, like pieces I think are gonna do well. My first one I got on here is Copycat. Yeah. Well, I didn't list him in my impact pieces. Yeah. But anyway, the first one I got is Copycat, because with, last year's format with no tactics, it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll just swap on this nurse and regen, and, she'll copy regen off me and my nurse, and ta-da, your stupid piece is gone, But, with the constructs being gone, it's a lot harder to, get rid of her, so she's twice as annoying now. And, yeah, that's a pain in the ass. And then, I got, Hi-Far. I still think that he's still gonna be good in this format, man. I mean, he may not be on every team, but I think he's gonna show up in like every top 8. I think there's gonna be one in every one, you know what I mean? And then Phantomax, just because, and at first, whenever I saw that bystanders were gonna be allowed and limited, I was a little like upset at first because I knew there was gonna be a lot of Phantomax that I was gonna see, but then I realized that, at least he'll balance out a little bit of the Kyle Rayner Super Scroll stuff that we saw, dominate the, no tactics scene last year. So, you get 1 out of 3 this time instead of, a chance of playing one of the 2.
Right.
So those are 3 that I had on there.
Alrighty, Jason, do you think there's any pieces that are going to make a big impact?
Nick Fury, probably. I think it's pretty obvious. Mr. Mentalplex, or however you pronounce his name.
Oh, you missed
Mr. M.
Mr. M. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to see him pretty often. I think vehicles are going to probably show up more often. They're really drones and other assorted pieces. Copycat, unfortunately, because I hate that piece.
She a bitch.
I want to see somebody try and run Super Doom as a one-man army at 300 points.
Man.
I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
I think somebody will do it.
I'm sure somebody will. People still play Bizarro, so.
Hawk Prime, obviously, I think is going to be up there. I think you see the Chase Wonder Woman, and I'll probably see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those two even together might even wind up being seen a lot, and somebody's going to try and run Red Sun Superman at full dial probably as well.
Hey, don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that evil on me.
Alright, Howard, what do you think some top impact pieces are going to be?
that I just played in an event, all those pieces that were just mentioned, with the exception of Super Doom, was played. And funny thing you mentioned Copycat, because all these years we've been playing and talking about Copycat, I've never played a Copycat until this past weekend. I survived it. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it's definitely something to think about. And I'm pretty sure there was somebody that had a Copycat / Highfather team, which is kind of wicked.
Oh, I'm going to take your piece and lock down your main attacker. Have a good time.
Yeah.
Give me your support. Now you can't shoot.
The only thing they need on that team is a Brother Voodoo.
Yeah.
I'll
glad
take
he's
it.
retired.
Mr. M is going to get played a lot.
Yeah.
I saw him get played this, and he's something to play with. I mean, something to deal with. I think Rick Jones is a great piece, for what he does. It gives you another attacker, TK, range. I think he does a lot of things. I think Banshee's still going to be around. I used it this past weekend. Of course, that's what I got stolen by Copycat, but, I ended up, being able to take out, my Banshee and the Copycat, so it was alright. And Nick is, Nick is definitely going to be able to, he's going to be seen a lot. Ant-Man. I think you're going to see Ant-Man.
Yeah, I think Hank Pym Morph in general, you're going to see it because the ants are available to play now. They're really good.
I agree. And, the other thing that you're going to see is, drones, Ultron drones. You can't have a vehicle. Man. If you have a vehicle, you got to use the Ultron drones. That's what makes that so nasty. That Phalanx, Ultron drone at, 25 points on the Sky Sackle is nasty. Especially if you just push it one time. Now you're sitting there and you got Clixed of protection and you got Pulse Wave and a bunch of other nastiness.
You got any of them on your eBay page, Howard?
I think, there's a Rick Jones that's on eBay.
Oh man. Okay.
I don't think we're with the Super Scroll yet. I think he's still coming for people's faces.
Yeah, he was there. And, we talked about that before going up there, and the rest of my gang thought that we weren't going to see Super Scroll. The Super Scroll finished second in the tournament in North Carolina. And I'm going to tell you, and I said, why do you think you're not going to see Super Scroll? Because there's too many, things against it. You got White Witch, and you got Agent 13, and blah, blah, blah. And
nobody plays those pieces.
There you go.
Yeah, I've seen maybe each one of those pieces get played once. I've bought 6 Super Scrolls.
That's what I'm saying. If we played No Tactics already and those pieces were available then, and it didn't stop Super Scroll.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you right now, last year, before we went to the Cincinnati No Tactics, which was huge, they had like 70 people there. Jason his daughter ended up getting sick. And like, you were gonna run Super Scroll and Engineer, Jason?
Super Scroll, Engineer, and Star Lab deck.
Yeah, and he was so worried there was gonna be like all kinds of White Witches there. And he literally like was almost not going to play that team because of that fear that the White Witch might be there. There was literally out of 69 or 70 people, there was one White Witch in the entire tournament.
And they didn't get past Swiss, I don't believe.
Oh, they finished towards the bottom of the event.
It was, White Witch did nothing.
Well, it's because it's a lot easier to play that Super Scroll than it is to play White Witch just to counter her, because she's squishy. Does she do good stuff? Yeah, but she's so easy to kill.
That, and people who do that, they're gonna outthink themselves. They're like, well, hey, a Super Scroll player is gonna be afraid of White Witches, so I can't play White Witch because no one's gonna play Super Scroll. And then you don't play White Witch, and then you get Super Scrolled like 4 out of your 5 men.
Right.
I think when you build a team, you have to, I mean, if you're playing Super Scroll anyway, you should have, there's going to be something that you have with them. I mean, how many points is Super Scroll?
170.
I mean, if you're that scared of the White Witch, play Copycat with it.
Yeah. Thanks for making people pick terrible teams I don't want to play against.
But seriously, Super Scroll is not, I mean, he's a team to his own, but there's other figures that go there with him, and you just have to be able, if you do face that team, maybe you're handicapped, but you just have to be able to overcome it. You can't, there's just, I mean, we all think like that. There's probably a lot of teams that we don't play because we're like, oh, well, this is going to stop that. Well, like I said, I played Copycat one time this whole time. This was the first time this weekend. And we've been talking, I've been saying for 2 years, man, I hope I don't play a Copycat. Oh my God, there's one here. This is the first time I played one.
Well, since we're talking about teams, if people are going to play teams, what do you think is going to be the most popular team as we show up?
Mine.
Spy's going to be there.
Mystical.
Soldier.
But I think, yeah.
Avengers.
Didn't either we just get a bunch of mystical figures, or we're getting ready to get a bunch
They're
of mystical
coming
figures?
out
Yeah,
in World's Finest.
Yeah, they're about to come out, and if 3 of them are good, we're going to be swarmed with mystical figures.
Robot.
Yeah, Robot. I think Avengers could be pretty popular.
Yeah.
As long as they're playing with that Black Panther from Age of Ultron. He's so ridiculous.
Every time I've seen that thing get played, it gets destroyed.
I've only had it for a little bit, to be fair, but every time I play it, I never get hurt. It doesn't even get it.
You need to get some better competition, dude.
Man, I have to I'm like CGR perplexed out here. It's so bad. And the worst part, I didn't get to explain my hiatus yet, why we've been down for 6 months. But long story short, I played States, and on my way back to Washington, my car broke down in Minnesota. And I still owe the guy money for the car. He's not willing to give me anything out of my car until I pay everything off and come get it. And in the trunk of my car is every HeroClix piece of paraphernalia that I own.
Jeez, man, I knew you broke down, but I didn't know all that.
Yeah, my whole life is in the back of my car. I got my grandpa's
Is it still in Minnesota?
Yeah, it's still in Minnesota.
Holy cow.
Yep. I got my grandpa, he just passed away not that long ago. Got his guitars in the back, all my daughter's school clothes, all my clothes are in there, and I can't get anything back until I pay it all off. So.
It was your transmission that went out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Just paying him a little bit of money at a time?
I'm trying to pay him a little bit of money at a time until I can get enough to just give it to him and get out there and pay an auto hauler to come and bring it to me.
Yeah, that's even, you gotta go all the way out there and get it too.
Yeah.
Are you getting close? You still owe him a pretty good bit?
I still owe him about $1,000.
Damn.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. The struggle's been real these last 6 months. It's been a pretty hard road. But, yeah, so everything I've ever owned in HeroClix, except for one booster of Age of Ultron, is in the back of my car. So, I found a place to play out here, but I don't have anything to play with.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to send him a lot of her from Superman Wonder Woman.
Yeah, if anybody wants to send me any dupes, I will not stop. But anyway, that's why I have no competition, Jason.
Makes you feel like a dick now.
Yeah. Right?
I stand by my comment.
In fact, the last time I played, you were there. So, on top of Limited and everything, we had, just a couple of weeks ago, they released a new rules update, which did something that this game has needed desperately for about a year. Despodar is officially dead.
Yay!
Woo! The new rules updates, I don't have the information in front of me on Colossal updates, but it's my understanding that Colossals finally got Giant Reach, like they should have had the entire time.
They get like a 3 Giant Reach, don't they?
They get Giant 3.
Yeah. Okay, so you get Giant Reach that they desperately needed this entire time. And then on top of that, we get tiny size figures can no longer have empty possession, which is phenomenal for people who don't want to deal with 20 defenses on an entire team. So,
just get a 14 attack.
That's definitely, just don't lose to the 10-year-old. Basically the point.
No, sir. That team was nasty, bud.
Yeah.
Nighthawk Prime plus Despodara, so it's like, hey,
Yeah.
we got 20 and you can't get your attack up any higher. Have fun rolling for days.
Yeah, I mean, that team doesn't work anymore.
I watched a few of his matches. He places well, he plays well, he doesn't make mistakes, he's good.
I was just messing.
Alright, I'm just saying. He's gonna come over and kick your butt.
Alright, step back to Limited here, because I realized I skipped a piece. In the Limited format, what pieces do you guys think, start with you, Dave, are that nobody's looking at that are gonna really be really good in this setting?
Question.
What?
Yeah.
What you say?
the question.
What is he always?
I'm serious.
Well, that is the question. Which piece?
I'm gonna say the Chase one from the Flash set. He's really good. I just played him the other day, man. He's still that outwit power, and he's just got so many different little things he can do. It's really fun. And I got on my list here. I got Fitz. I was mostly referring to the Fast Forces one, but Jason's a big fan of the main set one that brings out the little hover. Yeah, the hoverbot.
Yeah.
I like having a free Henry. I think if that's legal in the limited format, bringing out a free Henry. And then I got Cheshire on here because I've been playing with her, and she's her ability to run through a lot of the squishy pieces in the limited format is it can just tear a team up pretty good. So.
All right. What do you think, Jason?
Well, I don't know. I like that the Fitz for a sport piece. I don't know if I really have a good answer for anything else at this point in time. I haven't got to really play any of it so far and see enough of it to get a good grip on it, I think.
Okay. You got any pieces you've seen, Howard, you think you're going to do well that no one's talking about?
Well, I saw a piece this past weekend that nobody's talking about, and that's Silver Centurion. I think it's still very playable.
I love him.
And,
yeah. I was going to say not being able to be poisoned or pulse waved or side blasted, and then you get that little missile come in and do some fun stuff.
Well, Silver Centurion helped me kill a Staller. I don't know how I feel about Stallers. It was a legendary slaughter.
I think I remember this story.
Yeah, you do.
You know the funniest thing about Stallers?
What's that?
What I really enjoy is when you flip the script on them.
Oh, man.
When you kill little something and now they've got to chase you. Oh, it's so lovely.
Yeah, it's great. I played Jerry in
oh God, here we go again.
Lexington. And this story is always funny for everybody because Jerry was talking so much garbage all day long. And we've been there for 6 hours and he's talking about you guys can't touch me, you feel me? He's playing
except for Jason, who beat the crap out of him in Swiss.
Oh yeah, Jason and me were the only people to beat him that day. He was playing Two Hope Summers and the Professor.
And entities, yeah.
Yeah, and entities on all of them, so he got them.
And a Phoenix Force.
Yeah. And he got them to their powers where they copied, so they just copied his so he can't be targeted. And you couldn't target the whole team. And instead of carrying Despadara, I had Despada's TK Silver Centurion into his face and pulse waved his whole team. And the next turn, Gary's next action took 17 minutes.
That's 17 minutes where you should be punching stuff.
Right? Well, it didn't bother me at that time because I knew that he knew he was screwed. He knew exactly how fucked he was, and there was nothing to do about it. So I was just on the other side of the table smiling at him. That's all I did.
Well, I knew that you knew that he knew that he was screwed.
Yeah, I got you another figure that I want to come back to myself and build around. Just haven't had enough time to fool with it yet, to put the other pieces with it. I think he's a real good piece. It's going to be a combo deal, but using Clark Kent and Blind Owl to get him over to his thing where he can keep bringing Superman out. I think is some pretty interesting tech.
Yeah.
Hey Howard, you can use Cheshire for that.
I haven't really looked at Cheshire. What does Cheshire do?
She has a full distance charge ability, and whenever she runs through a character's square, so she ignores hindering and elevated already. When she uses charge, she ignores characters, and any person's square that she ran through, after her charge is over, you deal them 1 damage.
Wow.
So, if you're going up against all the Mr. M's and all the, squishy support pieces and stuff, she just runs through them and just wrecks them.
That's pretty cool. I think that Superman piece, though, that Clark Kent Superman team, that Superman piece is nasty, man.
Really good, man.
It really is.
And I want to say ruling that the hog doesn't take up one of your actions for the turn now.
I know, it's like having an ID card, and you get to keep calling in the super duper figure over and over again. Mm. And it's even better because you don't get points for killing. I mean, you can at least kill the super duper figure on the ID card, but you can't kill this one. He just comes and He comes in, punches you, and flies away.
That's so annoying.
I love it.
Lois Lane, that's another great figure I don't think anybody's talking about. She's really good too.
Well, they will be now.
There's a Start of Your Reporter theme team, Drew.
Woo!
Yeah.
We try to make that work since 2006.
Maybe you need to jump into that 400-point ultimate format.
Right?
Play a reporter team.
Hopefully, I can never make it work. So we'll see what I can make happen. You know, if I ever get clicks again.
I'll send you some dupes, man.
Woo!
Alright guys, that's all we got for this week. But do us a favor and go check out our friends over at hcatlas.com. They just set up a brand new service, a $25 subscription, and they'll send you your own unique, high-quality, Rubbermaid HeroClix map delivered straight to your door. They're actually exactly like the ROC maps, so if you like those, you're going to love these. This month's map is Gettysburg, and every month they'll send you a different, unique map to your door. These are definitely not your run-of-the-mill maps, so you want to check those out. Also, swing by eBay and check out Howard's store, Lucky Dice Games. It's the first place I'll be looking as I start to rebuild my collection. And I think you guys should give it a look, too. He's got a lot of selections on there. I'll drop a link for you down in the description below. And then on a final parting note, a lot of you guys have sent me messages asking about donating to the show. Well, now that we're back, I've set up a way to do that. I dropped a PayPal link here in the description that'll allow you to donate any amount that you want directly to the show. Anything you guys send in will go to either maintain our servers or purchase clicks or tokens or hats or shirts. Stuff that we can send to you guys as giveaways. We're not going to profit from it at all. It's all going to go straight back into the show. So if you guys want to get some extra special Clixed off swag and prizes, then click the link down below. That being said, I want to thank Howard and Jason for being with us today. But most importantly, thank all of you out there on the internet. We love you fuckers, and see you in a couple weeks.